Now that you've created a couple different parts in SolidWorks, I'm going to show you how to take those parts and compile them into an assembly model. I'm going to jump over to SolidWorks now and start that process. I currently already have a assembly file open. To get a new one open, you're just going to Control N or click on the New File button. Let me see here. And I'm going to select an assembly template. If you're not on this kind of screen, if you're on the novice one, it's just the one in the center there, assembly. I already have one open, so I'm just going to hit cancel. So the first step when you're creating your assembly is to insert the components that are going to be part of that assembly. That's as simple as coming up to the assembly tab here and clicking on insert components. I got all of my parts that I need right here. If they're not showing up in this list, you can just click on the browse button and then find them and insert them. With the first one you insert, which is this one, for me, you're gonna, if you move your cursor in the model space, wherever you end up left clicking, that's where that part's gonna be. So I'm gonna show you kind of why you want to be a little cautious with that. So I'm just gonna plop it right there. And now if I'm gonna highlight my front top plane here, you can see that I'll even select origin there, that my part is just floating out in the middle of nowhere. And then SolidWorks automatically applies a fixed constraint to this part. So this guy is just stuck there. In order to undo that, I have to right click and can come over to float. And now it's free to move around. And now I'm going to have to manually apply mates to this, which isn't a big deal, but I'm going to delete this now and kind of show you how to do it the best way. So I'm going to insert component. I'm going to select this one, and instead of left clicking in here, I'm going to have my cursor outside of the model space. You see how it kind of, when I did that, it snapped somewhere? It's snapping the origin of the assembly file to the origin of this part. So with that there, I can hit green check. But before I do that, because I'm going to insert some other parts here now, I'm going to pin this with this button there, keep visible. So now with that, this one kind of snapped to the origin. I'm going to hit the green check, and now I'm going to start inputting more parts. I need 2 of these, so as long as this is selected, I'm going to be able to insert as many of these as I want. I need 2 of them. I need 1 of these, and then I'm going to show you a different way of inserting multiple parts. So I'm going to need 2 of these, but I'm just going to put 1 in of each of these, and 1 more. Okay, green check. So like I said, I actually need I need 2 of each of these as well. So holding down Control and kind of highlighting on some part of this bolt here, and then left clicking and dragging, I can insert another one. Same goes for this nut. Come on. And for this screw. Okay, so with everything in there, I can start applying my mates to get this assembly fully defined. Just like with sketches, right here down it says under defined. I guess my face is actually covering that up, but it's down there. Also, much like sketches, in order to see kind of why a part's underdefined, you can left click and drag it around. If you left click, it moves it around like this. If you right click, it will rotate it like that. So let's start, I guess before I get into applying my mates, I kind of want to organize my feature tree here, because right now it's kind of hard to tell what part's what. So you can use folders to organize this. You can also do the folders in a part file. So if you got a bunch of features and they're all over the place and you don't know what they're doing, you can kind of group them into folders and give them a name. So I'm going to do 2 folders. I want a left hand and a right hand. If I right click, I'm going to kind of select the parts I need. I need one of these, this, and that. So with those 4 selected, it doesn't look like it selected a 4th. Okay, I was holding down Control to select multiple things. The difference between, oops, you hold down Shift, you can select all in the row. If you hold down Control, you can kind of pop around on the feature tree. I need a B, I need an E, I need an F, and I need a D. So right click, and I'm going to add to new folder. And then I'm going to call this one left hand, or LH. I need one of these, this, that. Right click, add folder, right hand. And then just by simply dragging on something over here, I can reposition it, and that's kind of keep everything alphabetical. Okay, now I'm actually going to get into doing my mates. So for this left hand 17.3B, I'm going to right click on it. Okay, I can left click. This bar will pop up, which gets me access to mate. Mate is also up here in the ribbon, or just right click and I also get to mate. So I'll click on mate, and it will automatically apply this lock constraint to it, or mate to it, which I find it incredibly annoying, but I have not quite found out how to make that not happen. So first step, right click, clear selections, or delete, and then I'm going to select my mate to be a coincident. So I want the top plane of my part to be constrained to the top plane of the assembly. You also can do surfaces to surface. I tend to like to use the planes, the front, top, rights, because those will always be there, and you don't ever have to worry about losing that association. Like I said, if you're pretty confident that going surface to surface is going to always work, go that route. But just know that using front, top, right when it's an option, definitely go that route. I'm going to hit the check. That one's done. Now it added that mate down to the mate of this particular part. So now I need to do, I just did top plane to top plane. Let's do front plane to front plane. Check. And then in this instance, my right plane of this part is not going to be coincident to the right plane of the assembly. So I can either do, like I said, you can do surfaces to surface. So I'm going to do that real quick. But as you can see, that's not kind of orientation that I need that part in. I got a couple options for that. On this bar here that pops up, I can click on the flip mate. That flips it there. Or over here in your properties panel, you can click on the mate alignment, and that button will also flip it around. Okay, and I'm going to check that so that doesn't show up anymore. So now this part here is now fully defined for which you can see in your feature tree. It doesn't have that little dash like with the sketches. When the sketch is underdefined, it's got a little dash. Same thing here. If a component's underdefined, it's going to have that little dash next to it. That F there, I already talked about that. It's fixed. If you ever want to undo that, float. Let's see here. That you should only really have one component on here that's fixed, if any. So I'm going to keep on doing my mates. Let's do this one again real quick. I'm going to do this a little sloppy. Like I said, I prefer doing front, top, right, but in this instance, I'm just going to do our surfaces to surface. Oh, see, I just made the mistake. You got to make sure to get this all cleared out so then you can select it to coincident. There to there, check. There to there, check. And here to here, check. Not sure why my computer's freaking out with all these errors, but whatever. And I can just keep on going down the line. This guy needs to go to here. I really don't like doing it this way, but for the sake of not being incredibly boring, I'm just going to jump through this. Check, and this guy needs to go to that guy. Check. Now that's fully defined. For these fasteners, I will show in a different video how I made these threads. For this instance, it's not important that they have the threads, but like I said, I'll show you how to make those in a future video. So to get these mated, I just need to take, say, the cylindrical part of this bolt, go to that hole, check this surface to this surface, check, and now this seems like it should be fully defined this way, but as you can see, the bolt can rotate, and that's why it's not giving me the fully defined. So to fix that, I can do clear coincident and click on front plane to front plane. Now that's fully defined. I'm going to just get the rest of this mated together, and I'll show you how to do the drawing of this. So this is something I added to my parts themselves. If you you don't have a good surface or something to apply mate to, you can use reference geometry to do that. So I needed the axes of the bolt and the nut to mate together, so I added those onto the parts themselves. So if I'm going to open up, let's here, open up this one, show you how I did that. So under reference geometry in our features tab, we have axis. So I'm going to I click on axis. I need it to be about the origin, and then to the origin, I wanted it to be perpendicular to the top plane. What that applied on there is a point and a face / plane. So now they got a centered axis on this part. You could also probably apply that to like a sketched construction line. So with those axes on there, I need to constrain I'm going to mate this axis to the axis of the bolt. Check, and this surface to that surface, and I'm going to finish this off. So now my assembly is fully defined. I'm going to save it. And same process when you go to make a drawing for a part, you do the same thing for an assembly. I already have that drawing created. So here I have my assembly drawing. I put a top view and an isometric on here. I'm going to do a section view of this, which the only reason I'm even showing you how to do this is because I want to exclude my fasteners from the section view, and I'm going to show you how to make those selections when you make it. So I'm going to start up a section view, and then now this will pop up, and it's asking me what components do I want to exclude. I can click on them in the model space here, or coming over to a feature tree, select them on out of here. So which is actually a little easier to do than selecting it directly from the model space. There is an exclude fasteners option here. I'll have to dig into that one a little bit to see how that actually works, because you must have to somehow designate each component as a fastener, and then it will exclude it from the section view. I'm going to hit OK. Place my view there. I want this to be A, and then check. Okay, so now I need to So there's no dimensioning that I need to do on this particular assembly. Everything kind of just fits together fairly obviously. So that will be a case on a lot of these that we do that you don't really need dimensions, but there will be instances where dimensioning an assembly is necessary. So now I'm going to need a bill of material table and then the bill of material balloons, or bomb table or bomb balloons. So you'll hear me refer to that plenty. So I'm going to come to annotation, click on table, and under table I have bill of materials. Click on that. Select a drawing view to specify the model for creating bill of materials. So I'm going to click on this guy. There we go. And it gives me a lot of different options here. Most of these you can just keep they're at their defaults, and then hit the checkbox. And now I have to just place it, which I want to put it up in this corner. And here, that looks a little fishy. Why is that doing that? As you just saw in that last one, the table had the lines in there to kind of separate things out, and if I leave my layer at none and check and put that in there, I'm not sure why that was doing that. Anyways, so my table's in here now, and then the last step here is to apply our balloons, or we could even just do auto balloon and then select the view. That automatically applied the bomb balloons to the view. Hit check, and once you're done with that, you can kind of just reposition them a little bit. This guy here kind of helps organize your bomb balloons a little bit, but it has to be on the line itself to utilize it. Now I'm just kind of being picky about it, but this could kind of get dragged up a little bit. If you want to reposition where the arrowhead goes, you can just drag on the end of it and then snap it to a different line. Click on this. I want to get that up there. And now that's all pretty good. And so there it is. That's my assembly drawing. I have all the drawings done for the parts themselves. I use a site called, I'll create a link to this, PDF merge. So you can take your assembly drawing and all your parts and upload them to this site, click it merge, and now put it in all those PDFs into one file that you can upload to me. I might also have you share these parts and drawings with me on that GrabCAD workbench, so then I have access to things if I want to make any further notes. But at least you're going to upload a PDF, and we'll do a merge so you only have to upload one PDF.